Well, ahoy there, cruisers!
These are the 5 most stupidest and craziest things to have ever happened on a cruise ship.
Before we begin though, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We're uploading 2 brand new cruise crazy videos every week.
So number 1 is jumping off, falling off a cruise ship. Now this should never ever happen because cruise ships are super safe. And it's been said that nobody who is acting responsibly has ever fallen off a cruise ship. So this is an actual thing, but it's happened loads of times, especially lately. One of the most recent ones is a Canadian guy jumping off the 11th floor balcony of the Symphony of the Seas, which is the tallest and biggest cruise ship in the world. I mean, how crazy can you get?
Yeah, he did this thinking it was going to be a laugh. It'd make him an internet sensation. Well, in fact, it got him banned from all Royal Caribbean ships.
And more stupidly, this was in the Bahamas. He jumped into shark-infested waters and was very luckily picked up by a boat straight away. He was immediately arrested and talked to by the police. And obviously, like David said, him and all of his friends who were egging him on to do this were all immediately taken off the cruise and banned for life.
He wasn't even allowed back on board or anything to collect his own stuff. He just had to stay off the ship from that point onwards.
How absolutely idiotic. He's so lucky that nothing happened to him.
Well, he's also was putting other people in danger as well, people rescuing him, and you don't know what could have happened.
So it usually involves drinking, and this guy said that he was still drunk from the night before. Royal Caribbean obviously condemned his actions, and he was so lucky to have survived, and it obviously hurt him. He couldn't walk for 3 days after. I think that's a little bit of karma, don't you?
Yeah, it's so dangerous though. I mean, if he didn't, he could have like fell back into the ship, you know, banged his head on a balcony or something.
And it happened again in the Adriatic Sea in Europe on a Norwegian ship where a woman who was an cabin crew air hostess fell off the back of the ship and wasn't rescued for 10 hours. But she was so lucky to have been rescued because she tread water for 10 hours while singing to herself so that she kept warm. But you're so lucky again that she was found.
She was so lucky, but unfortunately people haven't been so lucky in the past.
Absolutely.
So you need to be very careful and just, you know, have your wits about you. Think before you do anything, you know. Don't be stupid.
And
That's
as we said,
the thing.
Cruise ships are super safe. They're one of the safest forms of travel today, and it's always irresponsible behaviour that causes this. So it's also happened a few times more. Also on a Carnival ship, a young guy recently jumped off to get footage for his GoPro, 60 feet into the water, immediately arrested and detained and kicked off the ship. But what an absolute idiot. How much risk is there in doing this?
It's so dangerous to do that. So number 2 is involving alcohol again, was in Australia. 1,300 men hosted a huge party on the ship and it got a bit out of control.
Yeah, this was on Voyages of the Seas in an Australian cruise. 1,300 men who were attending a work conference were also holding a party on the upper decks with a big burlesque party, and as you can imagine, with a bit of alcohol, crazy antics, all spiralled out of control. The passengers were being harassed, especially young female passengers, being shouted at, slanged. Oh, awful. They felt like they had to be confined to cabins. They wouldn't dare leave their cabins because of this, and it just spiralled completely out of control. I mean, I think this is just ridiculous how that could happen in the first place, don't you?
Yeah, it is. Royal Caribbean offered the remaining passengers a full refund for their cruise because it got so out of control. And just to reiterate as well, this was just a regular cruise, so it wasn't a chartered ship or anything like that. But yeah, how it can get to that point is incredible, and you shouldn't tar every group with that.
Well, I was going to say, people should be able to behave themselves no matter how big a group it is. They should keep themselves to themselves, not bother anybody else on the cruise. It's just unacceptable behaviour again, obviously brought on by alcohol, but even that isn't an excuse. It's just poor behaviour.
I mean, we love a drink as much as the next 2 Brits,
don't we? But
we'd never go crazy like that, no.
So number 3 is mass fights between families. This happened recently on a Carnival ship, the Carnival Legend, again on a 10-night Australian cruise, where basically somebody just stepped on somebody else's flip-flop, apologised for it immediately, then it turned into a mass brawl and fighting between each other, both men and women.
That is not the behaviour that you want on your vacation, particularly a family vacation as well.
So as we said, this happened between 30 different passengers. 23 of them at the first port of call ended up being arrested and detained and obviously being taken off the ship. Cruise ships nowadays have an absolute zero tolerance for antisocial behaviour, so the cruise line definitely did the right thing. But seriously, all over somebody stepping on somebody else's shoes.
Yeah, and of course, if you are banned from the ship and you are removed from the ship, that is your then responsibility to get your way home. It doesn't matter where you are. The cruise line have banned you, and then that's it. You've got to figure it out yourself, and you've lost all the rest of your money of your vacation.
And obviously being arrested will impact the way that you're given future visas on visiting different countries around the world. But this is happening more and more often. It also happened on a P&O ship, the P&O Britannia, a UK cruise line recently, where two families again were fighting each other. Six people were assaulted, and this was all over a guy being dressed as a clown.
Yeah, he dressed as a clown and people took offence to it. And P&O did say that they didn't have a fancy dress policy.
And it was alcohol again.
But again, it's alcohol, and that does not mean that it should end up in a mass brawl.
Unbelievable, hey? But yeah, 6 people assaulted, obviously taken off the cruise ship and arrested. But it was a really violent brawl as well. People were using cups and plates and everything like that to throw at each other.
Number 4, it's a really sad one, this one, was a polar bear that was shot dead by a security guard who was leading a tourist group.
Yeah, it's really awful. So basically, this guard was taking a bunch of tourists in the Arctic Circle in Norway to obviously see the landscapes, and they ran into a polar bear who showed aggressive behaviour. So an officer on board the Hapag-Lloyd ship shot the polar bear dead. It's just awful.
It's absolutely awful.
What were those people doing in its natural habitat in the first place?
Well, that is the question. Awful. Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? Like, why were they there in a situation that it could have escalated to that point?
Absolutely, I don't think it's fair. I think the cruise line were completely wrong to take the people there in the first place. If it was the natural habitat of such a big animal who wasn't really doing anything wrong at all.
You just got to respect the environment, haven't you?
Absolutely.
And respect the habitats of these animals.
So guys, do you agree with us? Do you think that it should have been shot? Or, well, obviously, maybe it should have been shot if it was going to cause life-threatening injuries to the people, but they shouldn't have been there in the first place. What do you think? So our final one is missing the ship. I mean, how on earth does this happen? We mean whilst in port. So on every port day, you're given a time which you need to be back on the ship, which is called the all aboard time. Always make sure that you get here in time for this. But more and more often we're seeing YouTube videos and,
so many
people on forums of missing the ship. How does that happen?
Yeah, exactly. You can literally search YouTube people missing cruise ship and hundreds of videos will come up.
Crazy.
You usually see them running down the dock asking the ship to wait, but the ship's not going to wait. If it's already gone, it's gone. They have a schedule to keep and they have a slot at the next port that they have got to keep as well.
So usually you could go at your own expense to the next port, but obviously you're going to have all of your travel documents on you.
Yeah.
So if you're stranded without your passport, it could end up costing you so much money. You've got to pay all the way home. It's just crazy. With cruise ship included excursions, so the excursions you book on board, these guarantee to get you back to the ship in time. But if you're doing it yourself by booking taxis or booking local excursions, you have to make sure that you've got plenty of time to get back to the ship.
Just don't be stupid. Just, give yourself...
How many times on cruise ships have we been passengers Johnson, passengers Smith on board the ship, and it's like, oh, come on, guys.
Just don't be daft. Give yourself plenty of time to get back to the ship. We always say, aim to get back to the ship 1 hour before the all aboard time, just so we do have a little bit of leeway, in case there is traffic, maybe getting back to the port. But yeah, just make sure you do check what time you're getting off the ship and make sure that your watch is the correct time.
Yeah, make sure you've got the correct local time, because we think that's probably one of the biggest causes.
Yeah.
Obviously, during cruises, the time can change, go forward or back an hour. So if it goes forward an hour, you could end up thinking you're an hour early.
Yeah, exactly.
When actually you're an hour late.
And if you're using your phone as well, sometimes the time just gets mixed up. So we always recommend you take a manual watch.
Old-style clock, which you have to physically change yourself. But yeah, these things are not meant to put people off any cruises in any way. These are really the minority, the very, very few things that happen that are absolutely crazy and stupid. We hope that you enjoyed our show. If you saw anything crazy happen on a cruise ship, please let us know in the comments below, as we would love to use it in a future show.
And we'd love it if you would please follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/cruisewith. We're posting loads of photos all the time, and come on guys, we're really going for that next Instagram milestone, aren't we? So we'd love it if you came and followed us.
Yeah, and if you would like to help us support us to make more videos, we want to bring so many more to you, please visit our Patreon page in the link below. We'd really, really appreciate your support. So that's it till next time. Happy cruising!